Now let's see how we can configure our SEO in our Next.js app. By default, all pages will be rendered with this metadata, which is create next tab and generate create next tab. You can see now if I go here, you can see the title will be create next tab, and the description we can use inspect, and we can see the head element. Inside the head element we can see the description. Where is it? It is the title. Let's see the description generated by create next tab. You can see this is the description. The description by default to all pages will be, if I go to profile page, the description also generated by next tab, and the title will be create next tab. But we can configure this. Now we can specify metadata to each element. Make sure the metadata is specified in the server component. If you render metadata inside the client element, it will throw an error. Let's show you that. Now I am on home page. Now let's create metadata this home page. Now if I come here and let's create metadata to this, export const metadata. I think it's like this, metadata, and let's import metadata from next equals title. This is the home page, and let's create a description. This is the description of the home page. Now if I save this, it will give me an error because I am using use client inside I'm using metadata inside use client element. In order to save this, let's delete this first. Let's change this to, it will give us this error. For now, let's change this to link elements. I can change this to maybe I can delete this. I don't need that. You can use link element, link from next link. Instead of use router, go to id1, which is href profile /profile /id/1. I can use it like this. Now I can use server components. Now I can delete this. Now it is server component, and I can delete this, and let's save this, and let's see the result. Now I can go to the home page. You can see now it will not give me any error, and you can see the title. This is the home page, and this is the description of the home page. If I go to the profile page, it will apply the layout or the default page, create next tab, and generated by next tab. We can specify also in this area. In this part we can go to the profile page. So this is the profile page. Inside this profile page we can specify a metadata also. Export const metadata, I think data, let's import this equals title. This is the profile page, and the description, this is the description of profile page. Now we can specify like this, and also there are other options, like we can create open graph. Inside this we can create, let's say, a URL. You can specify a URL of your website or a URL of to this page. So let's say localhost. You can specify a URL. The other is I don't know, it is giving me some error. Yeah, it is giving me some error. I think I'm wrong. Yeah, it is open graph. It is inside open graph. This open graph is used when you share this your Next.js app to a social media or another page. It will show a URL, a name, and a title like this. So you can specify the structure of that. So you can specify an object like this, and you can specify title, and this is profile. Again, this is profile, and description, this is description. You can specify the URL of this page, URL, and for now let's say localhost, and you can specify also sitemap, also localhost, let's say this localhost, and also the other is you can specify the images, which is shown on the social media page. You can also use an array, and you can render multiple pages using an object. You can specify a URL of the image, let's say localhost, and the width, let's say 100, and also the height 100 also. So now you can see we can have many different options to render a page. When we render a page, you have many options to be crawled by the crawler of Google, and which you can use open graph to share your links, and it will show this profile page, this description. You can specify any name to your page, and it will show on the social media link, and it will be crawled by social media link. The other is we can use generate metadata if you want to use dynamic data. So let's show you that inside this ID, not this ID. Inside this ID, the ID is dynamic element. So in order to use this dynamic element, maybe first we need to fetch the ID of the element, and after that we need to render the ID of the element. For this, now let's create this ID. Let's show you that. First, we have specified in the API route, we have created this API route which returns this elements, and now in order to create a dynamic route, first I go to this ID of my API, so I can give a description. Let's give a description, and let's say this is the ID of the description, and let's say this. You can see this is the description, this is the ID. Now if I go to my ID route, I can fetch this ID, and I can generate the metadata dynamically using this ID. So in order to do that, we need to first create a fetch function. So inside this post element, inside this ID page, we can create a sync function, fetch post, and post ID. Let's give a post ID, and let's give any let's give a const post equals await fetch. Let's give backticks http localhost 3000 /API / post ID. We can utilize this, and we can use method, not method name, method get. Now you can use like this to fetch the data, and we can return the post.json, return post.json, like this. Now we can generate the metadata inside using this property. So we can create another function which is export async function, and generate metadata. I think it is like this, and inside this we can part the params like this, params, and let's give any, and let's give the function const post equals await fetch post and params dot id. Now we can fetch using this fetch post. We can call the function, and we can pass this params. This params is parsed from this id element. Now after this we can fetch the post, and after fetching the post we can return the object, and inside this object you can say title post.id and description post.description. We can use it like this, and when we use like this, and let's go to profile./this, you can see now it will give me this, and if I go to the description, this is the ID of the description. It works fine. Also you can specify the other elements which is found, which I have shown you before. You can specify open graph in this also, open graph, and we can specify an object, and you can specify the title, and let's give post.id. You can use it like this. We can pass dynamic data inside the open graph. For now, let's give the title of this is the title page, title of the ID, and let's give a description. This is the description. Also you can use post.description. I can use like this. You can also use post.description inside this, like this. Let's use this that also, post.id, like this, and you can use post.description. You can also fetch it like this, and you can specify the URL, and you can specify the URL of your open graph. Let's say localhost, but you can specify the URL when we share it to the social media. It will show the URL to this. Make sure to specify your real URL and the sitemap, and let's give localhost again. You get the point. So you can use like this inside using generate metadata, which is used dynamically, unlike the normal metadata. This generate metadata is used to fetch dynamically the content, dynamic name of the content. So you can also specify the images like I shown you before, and let's give an array, and you can render multiple images inside this URL localhost, and you can specify the width, and let's give 100, and the height of 100. You can create multiple images. So you can use generate metadata to generate dynamic data which is fetched from the backend like this, and you can use metadata to fetch data that is not dynamic. So this is how you use SEO in Next.js. Let's go to the next section.